Hello everybody, today I'm going to be doing a video on solving systems of equations by elimination. Earlier this week I did one for substitution, but now we're going to do elimination, which is the second way to solve systems of equations. So first I'm going to teach you, I'm just going to run through an example just so you kind of get the idea. Then I'm going to write down the steps and do a couple different examples with different situations that you might get. So let's jump right in. If you watched my last video on substitution, you probably saw that one way that I wrote down, that you can write down systems of equations. Fancy little bracket. I'm really bad at drawing it, but it looks something like that, kind of. So I did that. I'm not sure if you remember that. I should really draw it smaller so that it fits so I could do the whole problem on the board. Something like that. So we have negative 4x minus 2y is equal to negative 12. And then 4x plus 8y is negative 24. Okay, so this is the idea behind it. The idea between solving by elimination is that you can get rid of one variable and then solve for the other variable. So if you can see here, basically what you do is you take both of them, and what I'm doing is solving vertically. So I hope you are okay with me solving problems vertically. But what I'm doing essentially is adding them together. So I'm adding both equations together, which sounds kind of crazy, but it works out for your solution. So we have negative 4x plus a positive 4x, which cancels out to 0. Plus, and then what we have is negative 2y plus 8y. So I have 8 apples minus 2 apples. That gives us 6y, 6 apples. And then we're going to add these two together. Negative 12 plus negative 24 gives us negative 36. Okay, now what we're going to do is solve for y. So here, this whole thing drops off, this whole term. So we have 6y divided by 6. What you do to one side, you do to the other. 6's cancel out. Y is equal to negative 6. So we are going to write down our little coordinate points, which will be the solution. These are called like the solutions to your system of equations. What it does is it satisfies your system of equations. So we have y is negative 6 here. Okay. So now what we are going to do is plug that in to find x. So we pick either of the two. Does not matter. I'm going to pick the first one. So we have negative 4x minus 2, plug in y, which is negative 6, is equal to negative 12. Negative 4x, negative 2 times negative 6 is positive 12, plus 12, which is equal to 12. Now what we're going to do here, we have, whoa, what did I do? That should be a negative 12. There we go. So now what we're going to do, we're going to subtract 12. So we get negative 4x, 12 minus 12 is 0. So we write nothing there. Negative 12 minus 12, we do same, change, change. I don't know if you see how I saw that. This was negative, stay the same. The negative changed to positive. The positive changed to a negative. Negative 12 plus negative 12 is negative 24. And now what we're going to do is divide by negative 4 on both sides to single out our x, to single out our variable. Negative 4 and negative 4 cancel out. Negative 24 over negative 4. The negative signs cancel out, and we get a positive 6. So x is equal to 6. So that means that our point that satisfies our system of equations is 6 comma negative 6. And I'll plug it in just to fact check it, just to make sure we're right. So the way that we check these is by plugging them in, both points, into both equations. So we'll check for the first one. Negative 4, x is 6, minus 2, y is negative 6, which is equal to negative 12. Negative 4 times positive 6 is negative 24. This turns into a positive 12. Negative 2 times negative 6, which is equal to negative 12. Negative 24 Here we're going to subtract 12, subtract 12. This cancels out, which is equal to, again, same change. Negative, positive, negative. Negative 24. That checks out. So we know that for our first equation, these points make it true because negative 24 is equal to negative 24. So now we're going to plug in the points for the second one just to make sure that it checks out. If it does, that's our answer. And this is like if you're on a test and you're not sure if you got the right answer, plug it in. That's how you find out. If it does not work, then that means it's not the right answer. You probably have to redo it again. So then here we have 4x. So 4x is 6 plus 8y is negative 6 is equal to negative 24. 4 times 6 is 24 plus 8 times negative 6 here gives us a negative 32. Right? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. 48. Great. So we can actually get rid of this plus sign and just leave it as 24 minus 48 is equal to negative 24. Positive 24 minus 48 gives us negative 24, which is equal to negative 24. Check. So that means that this point is in fact the answer to this system of equations through elimination. So now I'm going to do another example. And this one was really nice because they gave us a positive 4x and a negative 4x, so the x's automatically canceled, which was really nice. Next we will be doing negative 6x plus 5y is 1. And 6x plus 4y is negative 10. Okay. For this one, same idea. Here I'm actually going to be writing down the steps. So first, make a variable cancel out. Okay, so what I mean by that is, for example, here we already see they have a negative 6x and a positive 6x, so all we're going to do is add them together. That's all we're doing. Add both entire functions together so that way we are able to solve it efficiently, and we get rid of one. If we were to get rid of all the x's, we only have to solve for y. So then after that, you would add functions. That's functions, by the way. So then we do that. Negative 6x plus positive 6x is 0. 5y plus 4y is positive 9y, which is equal to 1 minus 10 is negative 9. Here we divide by 9, and we find that y is equal to negative 1. Okay, good. 3, we're going to plug in to find other variable. What I mean by that is, because I got a y here, what I'm going to do is plug in our y to either of the two functions, it does not matter, in order to find x. Great. So let's do that. This time I'm going to pick the second one because last time I picked the first one just to prove that it works either way. So we have 6x plus 4 times y, which is negative 1, is equal to negative 10. So then we go through and clean up our problem. 6x plus, see, 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So we'll do negative 4, which is equal to negative 10. After that, we can add 4 here, add 4 here. This 6x comes down. So you have 6x, these cancel out, is equal to negative 10 plus 4 is negative 6. Single out the x, so we'd have to divide by 6 on both sides. So x is equal to negative 1. So that means that our solution to this system of equations is negative 1, negative 1. And then the last thing here is our last step. Check work and right answer as ordered pair. We write it as an ordered pair because I'm telling you that at this point right here, this point right here is the solution for these two functions, the system of equations. So now I'm going to check my work. I already wrote it as an ordered pair, so that's all I have to do now. Check my work. So we'll go through here. Okay. So let me do that real quick. We'll do the first one. Negative 6, x is negative 1, plus 5, y is negative 1, which is equal to 1. Negative 6 times negative 1 is positive 6. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5, which is equal to 1. 6 minus 5, 1. Equal to 1? Yes. For our first equation, this point is true. Now we'll solve for the second one. So we have positive 6 times x, which is negative 1, plus 4 times y, which is also negative 1, is equal to negative 10. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6, plus 4 times negative 1, negative 4, which is equal to negative 10. Negative 6 plus negative 4 is in fact negative 10, which is equal to negative 10. This checks out. So our second function is also can also be proven with this point. So it is true. It makes it true. So there we go. I'll run through one more. We'll use the same steps from before. Okay. And, okay. Computers are wanting to work. That's great. So we'll have negative 4x plus 2y is equal to 3. Here, what we'll have is 2x plus 3y is equal to 1. So, the idea again, we're trying to cancel out x's, but we ran into a small little problem. None of our variables currently cancel out, and that's an issue. So, what we're going to end up doing is play with this equation so that it fits this one. We already have our x's, our y's, and our constants lined up. So what we're going to do here is think about what we can do so that the x's will cancel out. You could also do this for y, but the x's are far easier to do here. So, let me see. In order to make this a positive 4x, I'm going to have to multiply by 2. So I'll multiply that by 2. But I'm going to have to do the whole, all the terms on one side. And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we multiply everything by 2 in order to make this true. So now what we have is negative 4x plus 2y is equal to 3. And we're going to add it with 2 times 2x is 4x. Plus 2 times 3y is 6y, which is equal to, and then on this side we have 2 times 1, which is 2. Now we can solve through. Negative 4x, positive 4x cancel out. 2y plus 6y. 2 apples plus 6 apples is 8 apples, 8y. And then 3 plus 2 is just 5. So then what we can do here in order to single out y is divide by 8. And here, divide by 8. So y is equal to 5/8. There we go. So now what we're going to do is try to find x. Oh, so as you can tell, we made a variable cancel out. We did that. Multiplied by 2. Canceled out. We added the functions. We added them together, and this is what we got. Now we have y is 5/8, and we're going to do step number 3, plug in to find other variable. So I'm going to plug it in. You could do it to either equation. I'm going to do it to the first one now, jumping back to that one. So let me write my ordered pair real quick. 5/8 for y. So now we're going to plug it in for x to find x. So we have, plug it in for y to find x, sorry. Negative 4x plus 2. Then we have y here, so we have 5/8. Because I have a fraction here, I'm just going to turn this into a fraction just because it makes it easier to solve later. I always do that. If I see a fraction, I'm going to turn the one right next to it into a fraction, always. Is equal to 3, because we're looking at this one up here. Okay, let's solve for x. So negative 4x comes down, plus. The reason I did this is because, I'm not sure if you see this, but I see this. This 2 and this 8 can cancel out, and what we actually end up with here is a 4. Do you see that? Because we have a 2/8, so technically 2/8 is 1/4. So this will stay out as a 1/4. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 4 is 4, which is equal to 3. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is subtract 5/4 and subtract 5/4. And you ask yourself, if I have 3/1 minus 5/4, how do I solve this? Well, we're going to go back to doing fractions, and I know everybody loves fractions, but what we're going to do is make this denominator the same as this one. So we think in order to make this one a 4, we have to multiply by 4. And then whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So we're going to multiply by 4 at the top as well. So 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 1 is 4. Minus, bring down this 5/4. And that gives us 12 minus 5 is 7/4. So that's basically I did this right here. So we have negative 4x is equal to, these two cancel out. The math for this is 7/4. 7/4. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is, because these here are being multiplied, I'm going to divide by negative 4. And here, we're going to also be dividing by negative 4. So dividing by negative 4/1. Okay, so here's the thing. When we're dividing by a fraction, what we can do is multiply by the reciprocal. So that means we're going to multiply by this fraction flipped. So instead of negative 4/1, we're going to have 1/-4. And then multiply across. So 7 times 1 is 7/4 times negative 4 is negative 16. And that is our x value. So we plug that in over here. 7/16, that's negative there. So this ordered pair is the solution to these two functions. You could prove it on your paper later. I'm 99% sure it's right. This problem got a little nasty, but that is the solution for sure. I'm not going to check it now because of time constraints, but those are all of the problems I'll be doing today. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. If you want me to do another video on this, or you have a specific problem that you need help with, definitely leave a comment below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Other than that, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.